giving them value. There's a problem there in that person, because that means they have no light of their own. Do you see how one symbol, how hearing one archetype gives you the entire session? That's all I do, people. That is it. There's no magic wand. You know symbol, you know people, you know the archetypes, you listen, you see it, you're like, damn, I know exactly what this person's coming for. It really is easier than it looks. Okay, I'm trying to like make it super simple. Okay, so now we're back to wholeness. What makes a person whole? What happens at conception?
The mother, the father, the sperm, and the egg.
The sperm and the egg. Mother
Fertilization.
and father. So this whole is what?
The mother and the father.
Exactly. So you now have one of these is the mother, one of this is the father. This means this is the what part, what energy in the human being, and this is what energy in the human being?
Masculine and feminine.
Masculine and feminine. What did your parents have to have in order to have you?
Meats.
No. What did they have to do? What action did they have to do? They had to have sex. Sex! The forbidden word! Ah! Evil!
It's a fornication.
Why is sex such a bad word?
Oh, it's not.
No, I know you don't think it's a bad word. Why were we all taught?
The society was.
Put that away. You can't masturbate in front of your sister. You can't do that. You need to not be a hoe. Why? Well, religion was a big part of it. Morality, society, to keep things in control. Bullshit. You know what every single philosophy and religion and mystic knows?
Is where creation comes from.
It's from fucking creation, people. And if they can dominate your creative energy, you'll never leave them. They own your ass. But if you understand your creative force, if you understand this fucking diagram, or this little diagram, you don't need church, you don't need temple, you don't need any of that. No gurus or teachers, because you understand how all of this works. Do you think that the church wants to get that out?
No.
Hell no! So they made Mother Mary the fucking poster child of Christianity. And who was the bad evil bitch?
Mary
Mary Magdalene with 7 demons. Ah! Give me Mary Magdalene any day, because we're all Mary Magdalenes. Mary Magdalene. You cannot exist unless your parents had sex, and they fucked you all up by telling you that Jesus was born of a virgin in a fucking manger, and that is not true. Because he would not be able to be here. There is no such thing as the virgin birth. It was a ploy, a marketing fucking ploy. The smartest thing that anyone ever thought of in the existence of this world was to put the poster child of a religion to be a Virgin Mary. They are smart. And I love Jesus. This has nothing to do with Jesus. Jesus is a human being like Buddha, and he did his work and he became enlightened. Hallelujah. But Mary was no virgin.
No.
Her and Joseph got it on, people. Okay? Do not eat that bullshit. The reason why religion and society must control your sexual energy is because if they don't, you will become whole and you will understand the mystery of the universe, which is my goal to explain to you today using this diagram, which will then lead into my relationship model and why everyone's relationship is all fucked up. Okay? Good?
Yes.
You have masculine in you if you're a female, and you have female in you if you're a male. That's the way it is. Okay? You've got testosterone and you've got estrogen. Goldilocks. Before most of you got here, I was using the example of the story of Goldilocks. What is the message in the story of Goldilocks? What is the metaphor? Too hot, too cold, just right. Too big, too small, just right. What is the message?
so nothing happened.
What is she teaching us in that quick little story? Balance.
So we both, we have both.
Exactly, that we have both, but
Yeah,
that neither too much or too little is good. That it has to be just right, has to be balanced. There is a myth in Greek mythology that says that Zeus, who appeared to hate humans, except when he was fucking them, wanted human beings to get screwed over.
I just saw a movie last
So, you saw a movie about that last night? What movie?
night. Yeah, the one that, oh my god, I don't even remember the name.
Anything you see of mythology, please tell me, because I love it. I started re-watching The Power of Myth with Joseph Campbell on Netflix. It's
the
only
one of-
6 episodes, but it's
the one of
amazing.
Hercules, but the one that the other guy did, not, I'm not talking about The Rock, the blonde-headed guy.
Thor?
No, it's
Hemsworth?
something of Hercules, it's called.
Okay, Hercules is always very good to watch.
But like
Because
Zeus
Hercules
comes
is the
and he
myth,
sleeps
and
with the mom and like she gets pregnant from Zeus and, you know, then.
Exactly, and that's how he
Hercules
becomes a demigod, and we are the hero. Hero is Hercules. So if you start hearing something like that in a client, they start sharing a story. Oh, my dad came, got my mother pregnant, he ran off. What archetype are we dealing with there a little bit in that kid? They can be dealing with an orphan, but they're dealing with a hero
The legend of Hercules.
because they're living out a little bit of the Hercules myth. And we are all the Hercules myth. Okay? So, what was I saying? Oh, so Zeus was pissed and he's like, fuck these humans. I'm gonna really screw them over. And he looked around and he's like, I'm gonna split them in half. And I'm gonna make males and I'm gonna make females. And that way, they're gonna have to be finding themselves, the other part, the other half of themselves their whole life. He didn't take homosexuality into account, which is funny because he was bisexual, but we're just talking about energies. We are not talking about gender. So let's be very clear, okay? So it is believed that Zeus sliced men and women in half to their masculine and their feminine energies, their masculine and feminine parts, and that's why there are men and there are women. And that is why we're looking our whole life for a perfect partner. Okay, so that's one of the stories and the myths behind this in Greek mythology. So every single one of us is sort of split in half, and we're looking for our other part. Remember when I brought you that image of the brain and how it was split with the masculine organs and the feminine organs?
Yeah.
Okay, it's that similarity. Okay, there are parts of you that are feminine that you may squash because your parents taught you men don't play with toys or dolls. Women might squander or squash their masculine because you're supposed to play nice and you're not supposed to ask for a raise and write a nasty letter. Only men can do that. Because if not, you're a bitch, right? Women are bitches, men are heroes, or whatever the saying is. Okay? We are conditioned, people. Conditioning. And this fucks us up. We are conditioned at the beginning of conception throughout 7 years old to be either or. Too hot or too cold. Too big or too small. We are not conditioned to be balanced. We are not. And so all we're doing throughout life is trying to balance all of our little fragmented eyes and find some glue to glue all the pieces together. I was recording my podcast this week and I used the example of a shell. I was at the beach and you could take shells and you'll go to the beach and you'll find pieces all over the beach, right? If you pick up that fragmented pieces of shells and you glue them together, that's like you. You've taken a thread or glue and you've tried to put them together. And you try to become this. If you take pieces of shell, will you become this? No. You're gonna try, and it's going to maybe look like a Frankenstein shell, but that's what you're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. We come from wholeness, but all we are fragmented pieces of shells. And we've gone through life collecting our little pieces and gluing them together, and look at me, and we all are Frankensteins, okay? Because even though, like Hercules, we are whole and we are God, the minute we got the earth, the minute we got our body, the minute we got our mind, we became fragmented. And we're trying to get back up into being whole. Okay, so what does this inner part of the diagram represent? Can anyone just throw it out there, what you think it is, what it looks like? Just take a, say it. What?
No, it looks like it looks like
Specify. It looks like a vagina, say it, yes! It's a pussy!
Well, vagina.
Yes!
that's exactly what it looks like.
That's what it looks like, and it should look like that. And didn't I tell you that the triangle going up was the penis and the triangle going down was the vagina?
Yes.
Okay, why would the two circles of wholeness be creating a vagina?
Because that's what the creation of life is.
Okay, so female, mother, woman is representative of what?
Creator.
Of creator or life.
Or life.
Right.
Okay, so important. Woman, mother. What do they have in common? This is a very important message because you're going to have a lot of people hung up with this. When I learned this about myself, I was like blown away. I was like, oh, that's why I'm so fucked up. What do mothers and women have in common? And I gave you a hint with the glyph of Venus and the two arrows.
They're both female, they're both.
Okay, they're both female, but they're both what?
Creators.
Let's use more common language. Let's be dirty. How do you become a mother?
Oh, they both have
Sex.
sex.
You have to have sex.
They're both
Lovers.
oh my God.
You have to have sex. You cannot become a mother without sex. Forget what you learned in Catholic school. If you want to believe that, just leave it at the door. I am not telling you to not believe your religion. That is not my goal here. Please, I am not sacrilegious or anything like that. I'm trying to teach you a lesson. Okay? Women and mothers must have sex. How difficult is it when many women, especially after becoming mothers, stop having sex? That is such a common thing. What happens?
I have to be
Yeah,
ready
that,
before.
Exactly. I must be a mother before a woman. What was that song? I don't know if it was 50 Cent. A lady in the streets and a freak in the bed.
oh, I know what song you're talking about, yeah.
Okay? That is the mother in the street and the freak in the bed. Venus. Does anyone know the myth of Venus or of Aphrodite? Does everyone know who Aphrodite is?
Yes.
The goddess of love.
The goddess of love. Yeah, but honey, she was love of the sexual kind. Okay? So even though she represents, do you remember the two kinds of love? What is the womanly love? Or the desirous love?
That's the one from the.
That's the pandemic, or the desire, or eros. And which is the motherly love? The agape love, the fourth chakra. This is second chakra. So, Aphrodite,
She was born out of Zeus, right?
she was born out of Uranus's testicle, castrated by Saturn, and she comes. So what do I say? Uranus, Saturn, rules chaos. And who's born? Woman. Woman life. That means you have a body. That means you have problems. You have a flesh. You have an ego. Okay? This little symbol explains everything. Just like this. Okay? So now you have a woman who has sex. And she's a woman or a man. And then you have a mother or a father who has love. A woman that stops having sex because she becomes a mother creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of problems in the relationship, as you can imagine. It's a big root of a lot of dysfunction in this society of relationship dysfunction. And it's also damaging to the child, and it's also damaging to the woman because her sexual needs or her creative energy isn't being mobilized. The man, not to stereotype, but we're going to say he cheats because he needs it. Men don't have this hang up because they didn't have the Virgin Mary. They didn't have the Virgin Mark. Okay, they were allowed to do whatever they wanted. And the woman now stays pent up anger, frustration. When they say, oh man, that woman needs to get laid, that's not a lie a lot of times, unfortunately. Okay? Because you need that. What alliance is created when the mother fails to have sex with the father after having a child? What alliance?
The mother-child.
What's on the bottom? The mother-child, and the father is outcast. If the mother is not having sex, what dysfunction is the child going to have? The parents' repressed issues become the child's issues. They're going to perhaps maybe have sexual dysfunction or frustration. My hunch is that they're probably going to be a little bit crazy in the sex department because they have to overcompensate for all the sex mom didn't get. Classic story of a client. Classic. My mother had me, my father ran off, my mother was a saint, never had a boyfriend. Your client has some sexual fucking issues. Mark my words, come to my office if you prove me wrong and I'll give you your money back. Because that mother is taking all that sexual energy and where's she putting it into?
Everywhere else.
The kid primarily, but yeah, maybe the PTA and maybe the cookies and maybe making a meal every day. Yeah, other places, but probably the kid. So the kid subconsciously frustrated, senses sexual frustration. What does the need of the mother now become the need of the child? I must fuck for me and for my mother. Doesn't it make sense? It makes perfect sense. That kid knows that his mother's horny, but she's trying to put on the Virgin Mary show. And all of a sudden, the child can't keep it in his pants or her pants. And then what do? They take the kid to therapy because the kid's a hoe. No hoe. You need to be a hoe a little bit more so your daughter isn't.
Exactly.
That's just the reality of it. I mean, I make it as a joke, but this is really what's happening in our clients' lives.
I know it.
And you can do that with drugs, you can do that with alcohol, you can do that with sex, you can do that with money, you can do that with work, you can do that with everything. Who is the alliance with? That kid is going to have the dysfunction. And then all of a sudden, the kid cheats because he's trying to integrate to become his father, which supposedly is evil because he cheated on the mother. I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just giving you an example. And why does the child cheat? And then it turns into the next triangle of the relationship. And then here's the wife, and here's the child, which it wouldn't even be because they're not in alignment. It would be the child, and here's the husband, or the wife. And now again, you've got a dysfunction because the child, the husband, is now in alliance with the child, and then they're both cheaters, and then the wife wonder why this kid is a child, and a cheater, and why is this person a cheater? Well, all because over here, mom didn't get laid, and dad went and got it outside. So it starts all the way over here. And it starts with a symbol that mothers should be holy. They used to not let fathers see, women give birth. And maybe that was good because they couldn't see the woman become a mother and the vagina stretch and all the disgusting look of birth. Or not. Maybe now men see their wives give birth and they realize that they're human, they're not superhuman, and that they had sex and they're mothers and it's all mixed in one. So this is a really big trastorno. How do you say trastorno? Like trauma or problem. This is a common disorder that we find in clients.
I was like that.
Me too.
Because when my mom, like all my life growing up, I saw my mom with like so many guys that we were introduced to that I always would like be like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be like her. Like there's no way I can be like her. That's
The
crazy.
0 to the 100.
That's crazy.
You wanted to do the opposite. It was in her bad bucket and you flipped it
Oh my God,
around.
I would hear everybody in my family like talk crap about her or like people make fun of her. Like we would always hear that, me and my brother. So my brothers were like the hoochie hoes. That's what we. That's what we.
And that's okay. My brother too, but that was fine.
I like to me, I'm actually for that. Like I think people need to experience things because if not, you're not gonna, you don't know which way.
Absolutely.
So, but I remember that like me and my brothers would always talk about that, and we would like be always like, you're the hoochie hoe, no, you're the hoochie hoe, no, like, and like, but it was a problem for me at one point. I remember like even when I was with my daughter's father and with my first boyfriend, like they both cheated on me like many times, and I knew why, because I didn't want to have sex, I didn't want to do nothing. Like I would literally even always go around saying, no, I can live without that forever.
Right. Yeah.
What
And when
happens
you
if
hear a client say that, you know that there's a situation like
Yeah.
this. That's a Goldilocks, too cold.
Now it's not, I can't say it's all the time, but it's.
Okay, but you're married and you're
Yeah,
dealing with
we-
children and life and whatever.
Exactly.
Okay? But there's an intimacy.
Yeah.
Okay? And so,
We've been
any
there.
extreme, any 0, any 100, and if you hear that in your client, oh, I don't need sex to live, you know that there is an issue.
Yeah, I used to say
Now
that.
write this down. How many children did your mother have?
She had 3.
3 children.
Lost one.
Every single child that the people have are gonna have that same issue, but manifested differently. So you're all hoes.
Oh, yeah.
All of you.
We all.
Just manifesting it different. One is going to manifest it as no, the other one might become a none, the other one might be woo, and the other one might be a little balanced but a little crazy, watching porn on the side obsessively, but pretending to have a normal
My
marriage.
older brother's a swinger, like he's.
Okay, you see?
They married, like, both
Do
my brothers
not
married
forget
inside.
that, because you can help a client a lot by normalizing behavior and explaining when they say that their sister is perfect or their brother is X or their brother is Y, that every single one of them that came from those parents have that same exact trait. They're just living it in a different way.
Exactly.
Because the parent was repressed, all of the children are going to manifest that bad bucket item in a different way. It doesn't matter if you have 17 children like these people on TV.
Right. Like
They all have it. It's just one different turn of the shell, one different
there
look.
is no bad or good to any of it.
Yes, you're right. But we do live in a society with
Yeah.
norms and morals and codes and etc. We have rules, and usually rules come from religion.
Right.
Because myth and paganism and when the woman ruled was eradicated. And so all we have really had the last 2,000 years have been the Judeo-Christian religions. And pretty much, whether it's Muslim, whether it's Judaism, or whether it's Christianity, they're all Abrahamic religions. They're pretty much saying the same thing, and everybody needs to be holy, and you can't have sex, or whatever the manifestation is, or the interpretation is. So we're stuck there, and it is creating a society of dysfunction sexually, creatively, playfully, all rooted in this story. So we must understand. So this is indeed a vagina. Okay? This is indeed important because it is sex. Now, there is a myth of Persephone. Does anyone know the myth of Persephone?
She married Hades.
Yes.
She was taken
Okay.
away.
So Persephone was the daughter of Demeter. Demeter is the Mother Earth. And Demeter used to give her these flowers to keep her a little high, to keep her close to her. So we're talking about a really sick mother archetype there, right? We all know someone like this. Either the child of that product or the mother that does that to their child. It might be you. So, this is an important detail. Do not forget this, okay? The mother gave her flowers, Narcissus flowers, to keep her high so that she could keep her under her control, her wing, keep her a baby, keep her a child.
It's like the movie Everything, Everything.
Okay, I don't know that movie, but maybe it's the story.
Yeah, the mom
Oh!
lied to the daughter that she was sick and couldn't be outside, that she had.
Okay,
that
that's
she
the
died.
story. Yes.
And it was.
Every single movie is a myth,
Right.
retold with different costumes and different characters. That's why if you know mythology, you have answers. Okay? So, the mother keeps Persephone. All of a sudden, Pluto or Hades is bored. He's just hanging out in the underworld with his dead folk. He's like, oh, I'm so bored down here. And this is important. He rips open the earth. Do you remember the symbol of the earth? Yes. And I told you it was the cross. Where is the symbol of the earth?
The mother.
On the Venus. You have unity or divine love, and you have earthly love. Right there in the glyph. That's all it is. We're divine and we're earthly or human. Okay? So he rips open the earth and he takes Persephone from his mother. And this is called the rape of Persephone. Have you been raped? Yes, you have. Have you been raped? Yes, you have. I'm sorry. Have you been raped? Yes, you have. Have you been raped? We have all been raped. Have you been raped, Ms. Rapalchi?
Yeah.
Yes. We have all been raped. Figuratively or physically? Does anyone know why I say that you've been raped? And who can tell me the story, not the sexual story? Who has a non-physical rape story?
I think, if I'm getting it correctly, guess getting pulled from a complete familiar situation and then all of a sudden just yanked into a complete other situation. Kind of like when going from the military, I was at my home, mom took care of me, and I was living with my mom, and then all of a sudden, I got
Absolutely.
yanked out of that, and
Yes.
it was like, you gotta fend for yourself.
When Persephone is raped, she is symbolically growing up. She goes from child to adult. In the Native American traditions, men, boys, they used to get all of the Indians and dress them up with these masks. And from little, they would tell the little boys that they're gonna get you, they're gonna come and get you, you're gonna get pulled from your mom, they're gonna come and yank you, they're gonna get you. And they psychologically prepared boys to be yanked in the middle of the night, and that's what they would do, like an Elian Rodriguez story, okay? He was living that myth.
Yeah.
And they yanked the boy out of the mother's teepee or tribe and took him with the men. Why did they do it to the boys but not the girls?
masculine, like the boys have to be tougher or something?
No, you're on it, but flipped.
Well, they're making the men grow up faster than the girls.
Okay, not faster, but men will not willfully leave home or grow up unless they're raped and taken. Women are forced through their period and through just being a mother, life leads them